Hello from Blue Willow Bookshop in Houston, Texas. I am Caroline Roberts. My colleagues and I are honored to host this virtual event celebrating the publication of Ilona Andrews' novel, Sanctuary. And now I'd like to introduce Modar and Ilona Andrews to the event, and I will be disappearing. Hey guys,
Hi
hey Mod.
everyone. Hello, hi Caroline. Thank you so much for the introduction.
You're
Hi
very
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Hey Lana, hey Gordon.
Hello.
Hi.
And Tubby.
And
And
Tabby.
Hubby, of course,
Tubby.
our most esteemed participant, guest.
With us as always.
Exactly. How are you?
Well,
Well,
We have COVID. Yay!
I'm
no.
Yeah, we'll persevere. We have confirmed that we have COVID. It's not gonna be fun, but we'll get through it.
Thank
yeah.
you so much for being with us despite all of the health issues. And we love you. I know that you love the BDH.
We do.
And you're doing it for us. So other than obviously very unfortunate diagnosis, how has the week been treating you? The store finally closed.
Oh, it's finally closed. Yes, now
Against my I would have kept it. I was so surprised that you closed it so quickly.
so for like
Of course, I don't do anything with it.
4 days. No, like
I
longer
think
than
that's
that.
the clincher, yeah.
It was just a frenzied activity. Like I started early in the morning and I went till like 10 o'clock at night. And then it is so labor intensive, right? And so I actually couldn't do anything at night, even like I haven't touched a computer game or anything like in a week or more. I found this really cool anime called I've been reincarnated as a slime, right? So I've been watching that like for like 2 episodes and then I go to bed. And so, it's been like a whole week of this high pressure. And then Gordon's sister flew in to help us with the store. Our kid one, our oldest, basically was helping. So we're frantically basically trying to get through all the orders, trying to get everything set up, right? And then on Friday, we kind of breathe a collective sigh of relief because it's finally done. And he's like, already? Why haven't like
Only
it
so much.
isn't me? And at some point, I think his sister was like, but it's not you, is it? So, yeah, no, we got everything closed. If you ordered a V-neck that has been discontinued, I'm so sorry. You will see the stuff on the blog. We're going to start issuing refunds. We actually issued some yesterday, but we got the COVID happened. So we're gonna try to get through all of the refunds this week, make sure that you all get your money back. There's alternative V-necks now. And in the email you will
They're very
receive
similar, yes.
very similar. They're very similar, but they're slimmer fit.
Mhm.
So you'll receive an email following your refund that has like a password to the store. You can shop over this week, make your alternative purchases or whatever. So we'll get you taken care of. We will reopen for one more day on Friday, next Friday. And that's gonna be a makeup day if you missed something, if you
Nice.
like. So that will be the one last day to shop, and then we are done. We have like
Back to book business.
yes,
I
back
need
to
you to
book
stoop
business.
towards me.
Yeah. Scooch, scooch.
Oops.
That's what we want to see.
There we go.
Right. Speaking of book business, yes, my boyfriend's book. Romance book. You guys know I'm the #1 fan. So thank you so much for Sanctuary. And of course, we want to know, will there be sequels to my
Yes,
boyfriend's book?
yes, of course there'll be a sequel. We still don't know, well, we haven't revealed who the yellow guys are, with all their
Yes.
magic is splattering. And so, yes, there'll be another novella. We are, there has been a bit of a complaining about the fact that, people want Wilmington 3 to be finished first. So we are going to bring you Wilmington 3 in the fall, probably in the form of a serial.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
On the
yes.
blog, yes.
On the blog, yes. And then it will be released sometime, probably January next year for the general purchase, and that will conclude the Wilmington arc for now. And then we'll see. Meanwhile, we'll be working on Hugh #2. And then hopefully we can do a novella, second romance novella sometime next year.
And some innkeeper next year.
Well, the thing about the innkeeper, we talked about this the other day. We really, well, first of all, we need to like come up with a plot. Secondly, it's gonna be like we talked about, a 2-part deal. Part 1, wedding. Part 2, find the parents. You know, it's a bit like Shaun of the Dead. You know, we gotta like grab mom, kill Phil, get to the pub. So
Yeah.
we've got like it's set up.
We are not sure if it's going to be one book with kind of 2 longer novellas, each from each sister's point of view, or if it's going to be a duology. And we
Mm.
kind of won't know that until we start it. But right now, we have this massive contract from Tor, which we need, that takes priority over everything. And because of that, you know, we are hesitant to put a date on the innkeeper. We definitely plan to start writing it next year, so you
Yeah.
guys will have a conclusion.
Yes, and speaking of Tor and the fantastic news that we got a couple of weeks ago, well, we got the news that we found, really, to be fair to the BDH, we squirreled it out of the dark corners of the internet because nothing escapes us. Nothing escapes.
Despite our best efforts.
Bestest efforts, like we plugged every hole, and somehow somebody went on an industry only site
Event, yes.
Yeah, in Spain.
right? Found it and it broke out on Reddit, and I was like,
Yeah.
how?
That person is legitimately an internet detective.
Like,
Yeah.
Super. I can't even be mad. I'm just
like
super
I'm
impressed.
impressed. Yes, like because we had like full embargo, like even our closest friends didn't know.
Yeah.
Like
I
because
think it was like a small stand at a book fair, so like at a professional event. Someone saw it, put it on their professional website. I let you know. It was like 2 days before it broke out. I let you know, hey, it's in Spain.
yes, and
Yes.
The agency was trying to block it, and whilst
they
we were
scrambling,
yeah.
but it was like over the weekend, and you know
over the weekend, yeah.
nobody
And
was
then
there. So yeah, we
Suddenly it
just
was on Reddit.
and suddenly it was on Reddit.
yes.
It's like I sent this email on Monday. I was like,
Oh,
late. Like there was 2 words, too late,
Yeah.
and a link to Reddit.
too late. Yes, yes, yes.
Ah,
And that's when I found out we have a Reddit.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we will do a
Um,
payoff of it.
so yeah, there's no stopping the horde, you know. We sent our ferrets in. We sent the ferret with the little tooth. And we break into all the computers.
And then
Um,
there's another funny bit to it. So it broke on Reddit, right? And we're trying to still squash it, right? So at this point, we found out that Tuna, our female cat that we had for 8 years, that has been examined by multiple vets, is apparently a man.
Tuna's
Yes.
a two, baby.
So you know, so we did this shocking announcement, right? And it was titled "Shocking Announcement," right?
No,
And I guess a lot of people who read Reddit were very excited because they thought we were going
yeah.
to confirm or deny, right? It was like, no, Tuna is a man.
and then it was like we were trolling and we really weren't.
we really were
weren't.
not.
No, no.
Yeah.
So anyway, the news broke out. So we're getting an isekai, which is a portal fantasy, romantasy, epic fantasy, medieval, urban fantasy. I'm not sure how to call it. Entitled Maggie. We're getting at least 2 books in a Maggie series and a 3rd book, which may or may not be Maggie.
Yeah, we are not sure because the first book of Maggie is gonna be probably about yay big. It is a very, you know, it's interesting because Maggie herself kind of goes into a book world, right? And so she says, you know, there were 2 glorious books thick enough to be used as a weapon. Maggie 1 will probably be thick enough to be used as a weapon. And we don't know yet if we will be able to pack everything into book 2 that we need to pack. If we can't, there'll be 3 books. If we can, then, you know,
Well, and
it will be the
that's
ology.
kind of funny because that's the thing about the Maggie story. There were 2 books and there was never a third
And there
book.
was never a third, so there's all
Yes,
kinds of meta things happening here, like,
yes.
The 2 books, fine.
oh, okay,
Will you-
please excuse
one
me for
moment
2
while we
seconds.
grab
It's
the
very
orange-
hot and we don't
orange
want that
cat.
over here.
I just,
Yes.
unless it's a cat that looks remarkably like her or him.
So
I hear you.
him.
Tuna. Tuna. Well,
I
nobody.
can see a question in the Q&A about pets. So we've got Miss Suki is on the pillow. We might hear her little rumbly snores. And then there's Nike
Yes.
and the most handsome prince gentleman, Tuna, has just joined us. His Majesty. There he is.
All right, happy now?
Yeah, the only person that's not here is Oliver, our gray cat, and Oliver does not generally leave the house. We don't keep him in, he just doesn't.
Yeah,
Go
he
outside.
doesn't, he's like, if you read Tubbs, right, on the blog, Oliver is like Tubbs, he doesn't leave, if he leaves the house, something weird happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did warm up to Trish. After the first 2 or 3 days, he came over to see her, so I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
very unusual, Trish.
Yeah.
Normally, if someone comes to the house, he just hides.
yeah, he just hides, but I guess he liked Gordon's sister.
Yeah.
There we go. So this third, that may or may not be Maggie, might it be something that rhymes with Snuffles?
Yes.
We are not sure yet. We have several ideas. Tor has been kind of a dream to work with. They're incredibly like in on the editing. They're very committed to this to Maggie project, which it was so exciting because, you know, in our heads, this was kind of like this niche small book, right? That we were basically doing our best to finish. It was almost like a passion project to some extent.
Yes.
And you know, they saw something in it that we apparently didn't see because they were like, we do not care about trends, make it bigger, write more stuff. So
Yes.
we don't know. I have a feeling that they will be very receptive to whatever we want to do for the third project, if it's not Maggie. And we will have to just write several proposals and see which one they like best.
Yeah, I mean, what it really comes down to is if we can finish Maggie in 2 books, or at
Yes.
least the first bit of it. If not, then I mean, it'll probably be 3 Maggies, and I think Tor is cool with that, probably.
Yeah, Thor is cool with that. They're very accommodating. It's kind of a
Tuna, get your
dreamlike
damn tail out of
experience.
his face.
Would Tor like Arabella? Is the question.
Um, Probably
No.
not because it's kind of
It's more urban fantasy or you know, paranormal romance than.
Mm.
I'm sure that like I don't even know at this point what Arabella story. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so sorry. We have feline technical difficulties. Lie down. I'm not sure if we're going to you know, if it's gonna be a single book, if it's going to be a
Yeah.
trilogy like the other sisters, you know. We will have to kind of cross that bridge when we come to it, you know.
Sure. And one more question, and then we can go back to our vols, as we say. We don't. For Blooded 2, we first have to see Wilmington 3 and Iron and Magic 2 to fully understand, right, what's going to happen in Julie's second book.
Yes.
Yes, well, definitely Wilmington 3, because it's the prep work for what happens.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
The Iron and Magic technically is not necessary, but we would like to finish it because you guys been waiting a very long time for it. We want to basically knock it out. We have a good storyline for it. We're excited. You know, Hugh and Alara kind of left in limbo a little bit at the end of the last book. We want to basically explain things because you may see Hugh and children in Wilmington 3, or at least a child. Don't hold us to it. We haven't started writing yet. These are plans, so
But it is, a lot of it is prep work.
A lot of this prep work. So then
set
blood
up-
air would make
Blood,
sense.
yeah, blood air, we have to write those for it to kind of make sense, like,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And Iron and Magic 2 is still going to be in the space between Magic Vines and Magic Triumphs. So
yes,
it will
correct.
happen before
It
what
picks
we've
up
seen.
right where the first book left, so it's gonna just be one big continuous fat book.
Yes. Yeah. And since we're in that timeline, Sanctuary happens right after Magic Triumphs.
Yes.
Because people were asking when is this? Because Roman has been in service to his god for 12 years. This is 12-year anniversary. And he says, I believe in magic vines. I've been doing this for 10 years. So we're in that
Oh,
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yes, it's we wanted it to be kind of disconnected in a sense from the main storyline,
Yes.
because if people wanted to try Kate Daniels' series, it's not necessarily a bad point to enter. It kind of explains different things. And some people just like Slavic mythology and they're interested in it and they would read a book on it, but may not necessarily want to pick up, 10 Kate Daniels
10
books.
plus, yes. And I think it can be read on its own. I did see a review from someone saying, well, this is my first intro, and I think I'm missing a couple of things. Like, yeah, one or two, possibly, from the Kate Daniels
I feel
world
like
build.
you could pick up Sanctuary and just read it and kind of understand.
Yeah, kind of understand what
Because
happened.
he's both sort of in the book geographically isolated from like Atlanta in that sense, and also just him dealing with his stuff.
Yeah,
It has
and
very little to do with Kate or Roland or anything like that, or the pack.
we
I mean, he
did,
does mention Luther, which is like
yeah, he
one
mentioned
small
Luther,
connection.
but we did very little with magic ways. We kind of didn't throw that out there too much. We just wanted it to be kind of a complete adventure in Kate Daniels' universe.
Yeah, so those were a few questions about that. Is it on purpose that we don't hear from any of the sort of main Kate
Yes.
Daniels cast, and it doesn't seem to really impact the Kate Daniels timeline or events a lot, and all of that was by
On
design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Kate, there's no references to it. It's very purposeful. We wanted to just give you kind of an unconnected adventure that you could pick up, reread if you liked it. And the second one will kind of be the same way. Like you will see a little bit more of like Yevdokia, for example, or Raman's family, but a majority of it again will be a separate adventure. It's
Well,
by design.
If we really do the Slavic fairy tale thing, they may even leave. They may have to travel.
Yeah, they will have to travel through Nav, and there's like we have some fun plans for it. We were really surprised how well people responded to that amount of strange mythology being dumped on them. So it's like we are in awe of BDH. You guys kick butt.
It's very interesting exploration, and a lot of people have mentioned that. I think that was the main focus, like how much we like the mythology, how much we like the difference in sort of philosophical and sort of faith approach to good, evil, service to a god, relationship with the god. Was that for you as well? Was that the main focus? Is that what you wanted us to take away from it?
Yeah.
Yes.
There is more that goes into Raman than just being kind of walking comic relief that unleashes like snakes and
Yeah.
scorpions. He is, it's a very difficult burden that he carries, and he's well educated, he's very good at what he does, he's very helpful, and we kind of wanted to give you that mindset of, we talked about it during the last chat, that sometimes like you see kind of in Celtic mythology a little bit and in Slavic mythology, where the relationship with gods is not necessarily based on awe and straight up worship, but more on reciprocity. We do this
Transactional almost.
It is. Yes,
very
it's a transaction.
transactional. We do this for you, what do you do for us? And the things like, okay, well, I gave Chernobog his gift this year, and look at the bad thing that happened. What gives?
Yeah. And
Um,
he's not good to me, but at least he should be fair to me, or at least
you
he's
should be
usually
ignoring
fair to
me.
me.
Yeah.
Yes, fair.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
paid God to ignore me. Please ignore me for this year. Don't have anything bad happen. You know, so because of this, it's a little bit, it's a little bit different than like what we used to see in Abrahamic religions, or you know, that what we see in other pagan religions, like there's, it seems at least from mythology, it seems like there's no point in bargaining with Greek gods. You're still gonna get the raw end of the deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Russian and Slavic pantheon is a little bit different than that. They're more transactional. There might be more similar actually to possibly Norse pantheon.
Mhm.
And it was a really fun subject for us to explore.
And it's really good to see Roman as a mentor, because he's not only saving Finn physically, like he's also mentoring Finn for the role that Finn is about to take. And it's really good seeing Roman mentoring him and being like completely, he's not sugarcoating it at all, but he's not like doom and gloom about it either. Like, yeah, Morena's not that bad. People don't hate her. You're sort of misunderstanding this. Even though he himself, Roman, is going through a crisis of faith, or at least a crisis of responsibility. Like, he's not letting that color at all what he's telling Finn.
Well, because that's a different relationship. Just because, okay, if we were to mentor a young writer, we are not going to unload, you know, issues and problems that come when you are under contract. I'm so sorry. Sabi is
snoring.
snoring right here.
He's
You know, it's we're not gonna basically bury them under an avalanche of our own problems that come with
Yeah.
complicated contracts and rights sold to other countries and everything. We're just gonna try to steer them and present choices,
Yes.
saying, okay, look, you have a choice. If you do it this way, it will be less trouble. If you do it this way, it may take longer.
Yeah.
You know, here's the lay of the land. Make your choice. Here's all the education you need to make that choice.
Yes, because even if we attempted to not dissuade a young writer, like we would probably explain there are challenges, but like ultimately, like it's that thing, like, is it worth it? Yeah, hell yeah. We
Yeah, of
do
course
this for a
it's
living.
worth it. We do it for a living. We
Yeah,
love
I
it.
love it. Like,
You know, it was very damaging to me as a young writer when I attended a conference before before we published anything, right, as a fan. And you know, I spoke to one of the writers there who was very well known. And I kind of said, yes, I would like to also be a writer. And he looked at me and he said, be anything else. Be anything else. You're gonna hate writing, you're gonna hate your job, you're gonna hate everything. And I was like, you know, I was like 20 something. I was like,
yeah, and I don't know if that's just bitterness or gatekeeping or
yeah.
I feel like we would probably respond somewhat differently. Like, yeah, if you can pull it off, it's a great gig.
It's a great
Yeah.
gig. No, it is something that's creatively fulfilling. It is personally fulfilling. Yes, it will probably make you neurotic, because so many things are out of your control, you know, and the things happen that will just are inexplicable. Like with Ruby Fever, the entire manuscript was uploaded into Look Inside feature on Amazon. We have never gotten an explanation as to who was responsible,
Yeah.
how this happened. Like,
Ah,
we just found out about it because one of the fans emailed us like, hey, I read the whole book.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't out yet. It was like a month
No.
before the release.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like this, you know, you just freak out over it. That's it. That's the only thing that you can do.
yeah, I mean, and there are certain things like most of us, we tend to be, I mean, writers like that I know are somewhat hermit-like. And I don't know if that's, you know, nature or nurture. It works for me because I don't want to go. I was fussing today and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere ever again
Yeah.
because of the COVID.
Because of the COVID.
Well, you
Yeah.
are sick. Yes.
Anywhere. I'm gonna stay home. Damn it.
Yeah, and not get infected.
Well, because you know, this last week we had, like, my cousin was here. She's been to Texas before, but like she has never visited us. So we had to take her to Buc-ee's and New Braunfels and do all the stuff. And it was like, go here. And she resisted my efforts to take her to Cracker Barrel. I don't know why.
Nobody wants to go to Cracker
I
Barrel.
love Cracker
except you.
Barrel.
You cannot
Anyway,
go to
so
Cracker
I
Barrel. You
think
take statins for a
it
reason.
helps to just be solitary and stay home. But then, of course, you have to travel sometimes. So
Yeah, and just to clarify, although Trisha is technically Gordon's cousin, they grew up in the same household, so we just
I
often
was raised
refer to
by her
her
parents.
as our
Sister, cousin.
yeah.
Sister cousin.
Sister,
I
cousin,
can
cousin,
say like
sister.
it's a North Carolina
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cousin, but
But
it's
yeah,
not like that.
people do not react well to that. So yeah,
No, no.
that's where the hidden legacy of
Her
your
mom and
sister
my
cousin
mom.
came from.
Yeah, cousin, sister, cousin, brother. Someone's asking, the Vasilisa, is that person part of the Slavic mythology, or did you create her for the story?
Oh no, it is
It's
she's a
real.
personage. So like the stories of King Arthur, right? Slavic mythology has a whole set of different you know, kind of
Stock characters.
heroes and heroines, and like Ivan is a reoccurring hero. Vasily,
Cachet.
Cachet,
Yeah,
Baba
very
Yaga.
cool.
You know, they're like the actors that are in the play, kind of, you know, and they have different adventures. In Bulgaria, there is a folklore hero that's based somehow around basil, the herb. So across the Slavic countries, there's different basically personages. Vasilisa happens to be very well known. She is usually if there's a woman in the stories, like a young,
Yeah.
she'll be named Vasilisa.
Yeah. She's kind of the female sort of Prince Charming. She's the princess main character.
Yes,
And she's either the beautiful and the wise. And our Vasilisa, of course, is a wise one.
Someone's asking about the mug. Can you show them that side?
it's just
It's
it's,
a
it's his
lion.
lion mug.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Gordon has the mug, it has to be like yay.
Huge. I need all the coffee.
He needs all the well, there you go. Yeah, we use usually the Prekrasna, which is the beautiful, Premudraya, which is the wise. Our Vasilisa happens to be the wise because it's more spells and fighty.
She's pretty though. I
she's
mean,
pretty, yes.
obviously.
She's pretty, yes.
Well,
And
Roman
people
sees
are
her and he's like, ooh, I
Yeah,
have lost ability to
like-
speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's too much of a spoiler to say, yeah, we probably ship them as hard as you guys do. Like,
Well, yeah, she is the
Yeah.
romantic interest.
obviously, yeah, she is the romantic interest.
And his due to her, like his I don't know what to call it, like it's not really a recompense, it's like making up for what he did when he was a child,
Yeah,
when they were children. That hasn't happened yet, so that's going to
No,
be in the
To some
sequel.
extent, he did help Finn.
Yes, he did help her family.
oh no, we're okay.
He did help
Yeah.
her brother.
He did help her
Finn.
brother, but he
So
would have
that's-
helped Finn regardless.
That's true.
That's how actually the second story starts, is she comes in and she's like, you owe me.
He does.
And he's like, okay, I am going to go and do whatever it is that you need me to do. You know, and so that's how that adventure begins.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions about Roman's family. How many siblings does he have? Is he the youngest? Is he the oldest? Who's Ilona?
He is currently the oldest. His older brother died, obviously.
Yes.
So he's currently the oldest. You know, in one of the Kate Daniels things, is actually his parents are having a fight, and one of his sisters like, you're the oldest, do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, so he has a number of brothers and sisters that are much younger. It's a bigger family. You know, we don't want to really throw too much in there for you, because here's the thing. As a writer, you give the readers just enough to basically understand the story. Everything else is kind of this extra information that just gets confusing over time. So we, you know, if his siblings become relevant to the plot, they'll come in and you'll see them.
But so far, it just really hasn't been a thing, kind of, hasn't
No,
it?
it hasn't been a thing. Like his sisters, I think, reach out to him several times through Kate Daniels series. Obviously he has the cousins. His cousins are, Chernabog has a twin, which is Belobog,
Yellowbog.
dark god and light god. And so because of that, his cousins are the wolf for the light god. So there's some. That's why he's so excited when Kate and Karen ask him to marry them, because he's like, nobody ever asked me to do fun stuff like this. It's
Yes.
always like Nechis drug the children off, go rescue them. So not that he minds, but yeah.
And Rodion, his brother, accuses him of being at fault for Alyona's death. Can we know who Alyona is?
Ilona is the girlfriend
Uh-huh.
that Raman had. Raman had a
Okay.
girlfriend. And he left. He enlisted in the army. He was trying to escape. And Alona died.
Mm.
So it's not that he caused her death, he just wasn't there.
He wasn't there to prevent it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's what it is. And a little bit of that comes in the second story.
And of course, his brother is trying his hardest to make him suffer and to throw accusations at him. And I mean, there's the Glades of Remembrance with everything bad happening.
And here's the thing, the Glades of Remembrance function in a very weird way. Nobody really knows if it is really the remnant of his brother,
Mm.
or if it is basically
His own.
like guilt and insecurity and a bit of self-loathing that's taken the form of his brother and is basically kind of torturing him. So this is one of the mysteries of Marena's basically Glades of Remembrance. Whatever it is, he clearly needed to get over it, which is why she kept trying. She kept summoning him so he would go through the Glades of Remembrance and kind of free himself of it, and he kept resisting. There's even a part in there when Yevdokia tries to have a serious conversation with him, and he just like rabbits out of there. Like he's like, no, no. So and she's like, look, we do this every time. I pretend that I'm upset. I call you and
I nag you.
and why do we keep doing it? Why can't we just talk about this? And he is not there for that conversation. He is very good at avoiding conversations he doesn't want to have.
And there are a lot of people and gods who love Raman, but and have very good intentions, but they're not necessarily loving him in the right way, right? Like his father tried so hard to protect him from things that he couldn't really be protected. His god is trying like really like hard, harsh love because his god is the god of evil. His mother is trying to love him with like nagging and checking and being on his case. And like Raman is sort of in the middle of all this love that bounces off.
And he doesn't want a bit of it.
Yeah,
No.
he wants to be loved by his family and his God. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
But for him, a lot of it is his father suffers from this malady that a lot of fathers have, including my father, where they feel that they know best. Okay. And so this kid was running around Nav as a toddler. He was gone, and his father got it into his head that he, was not suited for this. And he had to be protected. Because if you read Raman's story, you can see Raman is a very sensitive person. Despite all of his bluster and whatever, he is like, he heals the dog. There's a reason why all the Nechist is running around him, and they flock to him. Why? He takes care of everybody. He feeds everyone. He even, rescued Milala, which is just this terrible, gross, awful thing.
Demon, yes.
And he takes care of it. And so,
He's a Care Bear.
He's a Care Bear.
He is with that tough exterior, but
yeah, but he's actually kind of baby deer sort of underneath it all. And his parents saw that very early on, like when he
and they felt
references,
he wasn't well suited
yeah,
for
he
that.
wasn't well suited because
But that's exactly why Chernobog did pick him, isn't it?
yes, that's exactly why
Yeah.
Chernobog picked him. But as parents, you try your absolute hardest to protect your children. So that's what they did. And as far as Yevdokia goes, here's the thing. Nagging worked. Nagging Raman worked in the sense that he will, instead of sitting there brooding in his own basically dark thoughts, he will come out to family gathering if you nag him long enough, and he'll eventually will end up having a very nice time, right? But getting him out of that is very difficult.
Eeyorness.
Yeah, Eeyore.
Yeah.
Come on, Eeyore.
So they act in the way they did because it has proven to be effective over time. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Is it idealized parenting? Absolutely not. But as parents, you do the best you
You
can.
do the best you can, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, is touching upon like Chernobyl picking him because he is this sensitive soul, and because he does like it was. I really loved the way that that Chernobyl kind of sees more than obviously the human characters, right? And he picks like the same pattern, but he's trying to fix it, right? So the previous generation, Grigori, his previous Black Wolf, got together. You have the Kia. He didn't have patience for her witchery. She couldn't stand the blood. And now Chernobog is very, very much trying to ship Roman and Vasilisa, right? Like he is matchmaking.
Oh, yeah.
He's seriously matchmaking.
Yeah, Marina and Chernobog both, they're trying to avoid the Grigori and Evdokia union, sort of speak.
Yeah, they feel like
Yeah.
they can fix that.
Yes, because God's meddle, that's what they do.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's excellent. They do.
Yeah.
They meddle.
So this iteration of the Black Vault will have patience for Vasilisa's work, and she will understand his like that he needs to go and save kids from
I think so.
dark monsters, and
Now, they
Yeah.
will probably go together. That's the
it
thing.
will go together. Yes.
Yeah, and they share a little bit more of a similar mindset that
Yeah, it's almost like they're the next generation of that. So we all tend to think we're a little more enlightened than our parents, a little more
until we turn into our
a
parents.
little more tolerant, yes, and then we turn into our parents. But yeah, I think they're that next step of that. And I do think they'll work together well
Yeah,
and be more
absolutely.
patient of each other's particular duties, I guess. I hate to say
Yeah, responsibilities,
yeah,
obligations.
vocations. Yeah.
And someone said, and Chernobyl wants babies. Yes.
Yes,
He
that's
likes the bloodline.
babies. Yes, absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Vasilisa's relationship with the gods? Um, is she particularly close to Morena? Is she kind of in service of all the gods? Is she outside of the pantheon? Like, whose interests does she work for, basically?
Oh,
No, it's okay. So first of all, she's not a god,
no.
she's more like an angel to an extent. When God wants something to happen, they send an angel to do it. And she's a little bit like that. So when Slavic gods have an issue they cannot resolve on their own, or their wolves are unable to resolve it due to conflicts, when they need a third neutral party, they kind of tap Vasilisa on the shoulder and like, hey, go fix this for us.
Yeah, in a weird way, she belongs to all of them and to none of them exclusively.
Yes.
Yes.
She is able to do different tasks where someone like Roman or his father or his cousin belong to Chernobog, Belobog. She doesn't necessarily belong to Morena or
She
Chernobog.
chooses to like have affinity with someone, but it's not necessarily, her power is not derived from Slavic gods. It's derived from her inner potential. They're just kind of collective consciousness of Slavic neo-pagans.
So
Because
there has to be a Vasilisa.
there has to be
Has
Vasilisa.
to be Vasilisa's.
So because of that, she can choose and pick and choose her allegiances,
Mhm.
There are times when she serves a dark god, because they need something done. There are times when she serves a light god, but usually when she is involved, it's for the good of the humans rather than
Yes.
for the good of the gods. So it's a disaster prevention kind of fail switch.
Yes. And since we got to talking about the gods, there are a lot of people who don't really understand Kind Regards, the little short story. Who could it possibly be? this teenage boy who arrives on Morena's wolf,
Oh,
delivering Morena's wail to the man who
I-
insulted the
I'm
goddess.
so surprised. I thought that was
At the
so
end of the
obviously expected.
sanctuary, Finn climbs onto a wolf and he rides off. Finn, Morena's new priest, rides off
Yeah.
on her wolf.
And then a priest who was disrespectful
Respectful to Morena.
is brought
Gets a
low.
little, gets a little tap on the shoulder.
Who are the villains in Sanctuary, and was it also on purpose that we didn't find out
Yes.
at the end?
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
That will be explained
in
later.
later. There's clues as to who the villains are. Because like both Raman and his friend are like hitting on like this seems familiar. We have seen this before.
Why does this seem so familiar? I can't quite
I
put my
can't
finger
put
on.
my finger on it. What is this? Why is this? It will be explained. It's not what you think. Wait until book 2.
Yes. Which will be, can you tell us a little bit, can you give us a little bit of preview what book 2 will be centered around? Which tropes? Is it going to be more romantic and more sort of
It will be more romantic.
cozy?
In a very basic terms, a person disappears, right? And Vasilisa must find him. So she goes to Raman for help. He owes her. They set out to find it.
They're going to be on a quest.
On the quest, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, powers beyond, become involved, and it all goes to hell in a handbasket. And you'll get more Nav, you will get more magic, it will be more romantic. We will see a little bit more of the maybe slightly less of the gods and more of like mythological personages involved.
Yeah, we'd like to have all those cool, like, I don't know what to call them, figures, I guess, from
Yeah.
Slavic mythology, and almost have it be like an homage to a proper Slavic fairy tale.
Fairy tale. The funniest thing about it is that, inevitably in a Slavic fairy tale, at some point, the hero or the heroine go to Baba Yaga, right? And basically seek her wise counsel because
I'm sorry. You know why I'm laughing. You know why that's funny.
yes, and which is absolutely hilarious because yes, Raman will have to do that. And it, yes, mom,
mother.
yeah.
Because Ibtikia, guys, is basically
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, yeah.
so he will have to go to his mother for wise counsel.
Yes, which is just like it's
And
gonna.
I think it'll have that quest icon, almost like you mentioned, like so it'll almost be like a dreamy sort of quality where they're going into, like almost different realms or realities, you know what I mean? Like they'll go into Nav. So I think it should be really cool to have that. To where I feel like with Sanctuary is very firmly rooted in like a house in the woods outside of Atlanta.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Well, with occasional
introduction.
forays
Yeah.
into like,
You know,
do
when
you need to go outside?
I will.
I'll get her.
She's fine.
Nike.
Nike down.
Okay, I'll let her. Come on. Excuse me.
When you look at Kate Daniels, one of the better introduction points is the questionable client, right? And the only people you see in there
Big
is
stretch.
Kate and basically really Simon and just some
Simon,
kind of generic Slavic bad guys, right? Because what we're trying to kind of ease you into the universe, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what Sanctuary is. The second book will be a little bit broader in scope.
Are we going to see more of Finn and more of Farhang?
I really like Farhang. I hope so. I really
hope
thought
so.
he was a person that you could kind of sympathize with. He really did have good intentions, and he kind of got a little bit ahead of himself, and then he suffered for it. I think he paid his dues.
I think he paid his
I think he
dues,
more
yeah.
than atoned for his transgressions.
His issues.
And I really feel like he's a nice
It
guy.
would be so good for Raman to have a BFF,
Yeah.
it would be so much fun.
Yeah, I think, and someone like sort of outside of his own pantheon who's like they can be friends because there's really no professional conflicts or anything. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the druid is his friend also, but if you notice, he kind of keeps to himself. Druids are technically tend to be solitary in Kate Daniels' universe, so it's not exactly like a bromance of any sort. So
And he does seem to he seems to have left his military past behind, Roman,
yes,
and he still lives sort of at least surrounded by his old classmates sort of from childhood. So he
Yeah.
doesn't, and obviously he's friends with Kate, right? With Kate and Curran, but he doesn't really seem to have like that many adult sort of support system.
well, when would he have the
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
Ratana, his family is on his butt all the time, his congregation, something is always happening.
Chernobog, yeah.
Chernobog, like it's very hard. He doesn't have a lot of leisure time left to him, which is why
His
he's
dates,
protective of it.
yeah.
So because of that, yes, absolutely, if he and Farhang could be friends, that would be amazing for both of them because Farhang also needs a friend. And it's hard. I mean, imagine, so without any spoilers, Farhang was kind of absent from his area of influence for a while, like years. And because of that, it's kind of hard to go back. He may stick around Atlanta for a bit.
Are we going to see the family get together, at least in an extra, if not in the next book? Like people were really looking forward to seeing Roman at the party
Um,
and seeing the family
you
fight.
know,
It's
here's
gonna be a fight.
emotionally, right? Sanctuary is complete.
Mm,
So we can do the party, but there's not gonna be really any, like, they're just gonna go to the party and they're gonna have a good time. There's not gonna be any conflict or, any, like, it's gonna be boring, guys. It's just gonna be boring.
yeah.
So if you want, we will try to throw a big family dinner for you in the second book. So you will see Evdokia and his father and
Yeah, I think people
siblings.
just want to see kind of like that
Yes.
that idealized setting of like his mother and his father and his siblings and maybe he invites Farhang, hey, you want to
Yeah.
go? He's like, hey, this is my friend. I think
The
Farhang,
cozy chaos.
yeah.
Yeah, because Khalida is kind of okay, so they would all just basically kind of get drunk. There would be some dancing,
Yeah.
that's about it. It's hard to make a story out of that. It's hard to even make like a
It's
dynamic
just a
scene.
scene, yeah, just a sort of quiet scene, maybe.
Yeah, he'll just probably sit in a corner, drink his beer or mead or medavucha, whatever they serve. Medavucha is kind of this honey brew,
Yeah. Hydromel, I think is in English. I'm not exactly sure.
I am not
Hydromel
sure.
is a
I'm
thing,
not
yeah.
sure, but yeah, it's he would probably drink and he would look around and he would be happy. He would kind of bask in the warmth a little bit. That's about it.
Oh yeah, this question came up a lot. Roman refers to a service that he did for Chernobog, killing a void monster, and that is the reason why he got spared in the past 6 years from going through the Glades of Remembrance. Was that gunmetal magic? Is that what we saw in
No,
gunmetal magic?
that has
No.
not. No.
Okay. That came in a lot. So
I love
yeah.
how you guys try to connect like completely
Yeah.
unrelated things, but at the same time did not get that Finn was the priest.
Ah.
How?
The VDH,
But sometimes,
never knowingly and chaotic.
like the fan theory, and I'll think about it and go like, we may not have intended as that, but it works.
It works, it makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do we get to see, oh yeah, are there any sort of dark counterparts of Vasilisa? Is there like a stupid and evil Vasilisa, I guess, if the other one's
No,
pretty and
there really
wise?
isn't. There really
No.
isn't, right? You will get basically,
Are there villains? Maybe like
they're villains, but they tend to be, I guess Lihoradka could be, which is
Mhm.
she's kind of the embodiment of the
Diseases?
diseases. Yeah, Lihoradka, Liharad itself, the word comes from like,
Plague.
no, it is fever kind of touched with delirium, I guess the best translation would be, right? To where
Yeah.
you're feverish, you kind of out of it. You know, and because of that, it is a she would be a very good counterpart and villain, and we
Yeah.
may go that way in
That'd
book
be
2.
cool. We could do
But
that.
as far as the folklore, no. That's not.
That's not what we're
It
getting.
tends to fight against men
You
and
know, I'd love to have
monsters.
that whistling villain.
We have him, the
The
sound.
Nightingale Bandit.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, you know, he's
He's Raman's cousin,
Raman's
isn't he?
youngest cousin, yeah. It's like
The
one
serial
son is
killer.
a doctor, the other son is a lawyer, and the third is a serial killer.
Serial killer.
You know, so yeah, that
And yeah, a lot of love for sort of Raman's homebody vibes, like all the cozy with his pets and his food and his cookies and his eggnog and all of that. Can we look forward to more of that, or is he
Yeah,
going to be way too busy with the quest?
Except that he's going to be pulled out of all of that niceness to go on an adventure.
yes.
Yes, yes.
Which is, can you imagine? I don't like to, I'm not ever going anywhere again. And that's it. I did, at least for this year.
You're going to Dragon Con
I
at the
know
end
I'm
of this
going to
month.
Dragon Con and I hate it. I will do it though.
There were a lot of questions about that. If you know the schedule for DragonCon yet and how long you'll be at DragonCon.
We just
Schedule.
got the tentative. Here's the problem, guys. Because it's not set in stone, we don't want to throw it out there. If they
Yes.
change
It
something,
is subject to change, guys. So we kind of have an idea of the panels that we're going to be on. But like again, I don't want to put that out there because it's not 100%.
yeah, because then we have 2 versions of the schedule running or floating
We're
around.
going to Buns and Roses, aren't we?
Yeah, but that's like November, October. It
It's after
doesn't.
Dragon
It
Con.
doesn't exist right now. Don't.
Yeah, the thing we're now have to think I have to like
one thing at a
throw
time.
myself
Another time.
get on a plane again and
Go to the Dragon Con and stay in Atlanta for several days, and they own us for like 4 or 5 days.
oh yeah. It's
So-
fun. It is fun.
It's fun to meet people. It's fun to basically see the BDH. It's fun to sign books. It's not so fun to travel there, you know, and then, you know, travel back. But I am hoping that we'll all have a great time at Dragon
Yeah.
Con. Where, you know, I know that he's grousing right now because he's COVID stricken, but
Yes.
he'll have a great time. We always have a fantastic time at that convention. Like there's so many people. They assign us usually a handler, right? And it's so funny because she's like, hold on to my bag. And so she usually have,
Oh,
they have a
yeah.
backpacks, right? You hold on to the backpack and the next person behind you holds on to your backpack.
That's
and you
something-
like
Yeah.
carve your way through the crowd because otherwise we
Yeah.
don't know where we
Oh,
are,
yeah.
where we're supposed to
They
go.
are super good about that. They will give you a minder who will get you where you're supposed to be. By God, when you're supposed to be
When you're
there.
supposed to be there, right?
Which
They
is
will like
really admirable, because otherwise I would be off. You can ask her.
it's spread out over like 4 hotels, I think. And it's just like
Yeah.
half of the time, the reason we know why things are happening or what things are happening is because we have Modar.
Yeah.
You know, the only, like I
Not
get
on
the
location.
list, things to do this week, and I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm crossing them off one by one. It's like, did you
Yeah.
meet the artist? Did you do this? Did you do that? I'm like, okay, because otherwise, like I would, if you told me how much business and admin we would have had to do once we basically kind of, you know, got to where we are, I wouldn't have believed you because
You don't think of it. You know, it's what's his name? Solving crimes during the day.
yeah, Castle.
Castle. And then pecking at his keyboard at night. Bro, it ain't
Yeah,
like that.
they show him for like 30 seconds and somehow he has books
He's
published.
like,
And I'm
he's
like,
like raising a daughter,
Yeah.
solving crimes with the NYPD or whatever. the
signing
hell.
breasts
Signing
and doing
boobs.
like, what
I'm
the
like, dude,
hell?
no, we don't, that's not how it works.
No, it's like,
Yes.
there are days that would do nothing but the admin stuff and this contract and that contract. And did you approve the audio? You approved the audio, but did you listen to the audio?
Did you pay the artist?
Did you pay the artist? Did you
Did-
receive the artist? Did you send the right files to the cover designer? You know, it's like,
I don't want to complain.
but yes, here's the thing. This comes from the anime that I mentioned. I got
Oh.
reincarnated by the slime. He used to be a salaryman in Japan, and so he said, I have so many wonderful memories, but I can talk about things that annoyed me forever. And so yes, overall,
well,
we
that's-
are thrilled to be writers.
Yeah,
we love our job. It's so
we
much
don't
fun.
sing, we don't dance.
We don't sing, we don't dance, we write. We
That's it.
enjoy it. We enjoy the interaction with fans. You know, that's why we're on the fan boards occasionally, answering questions and things. But yeah, are there annoying parts? Absolutely. But you know, that's in any job. Any job will have annoying
Yeah,
parts.
every job has ups and downs, things you like and
Yeah,
things you don't.
things you like and things you don't. And you know, you try to do the best you can.
And we can't complain. I mean, guys,
Oh,
we've
it's
had worse
amazing.
jobs.
It's amazing.
I worked in a tire retreading plant.
Yeah.
For real. The job that Forrest Gump's mama didn't want him to do.
Yep, he
I
did
did
that.
that. And that's not, this
Right.
is much better.
And thank you so much for being with us today, especially when you've got COVID. Thank you so much for all the stories and all the adventures you're going to take us on. And we love you very, very much. And thank you so much for Sanctuary.
Ask me a super spoiler question.
No, please
No,
don't.
Don't do it.
no,
Please
Do
don't
it.
ask.
you're already spoiled, spoiler lord.
That's it. He doesn't get to spoil or anything else. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so sorry we're a bit under the weather and probably not in performance as we usually are. We did our best. Thank you for reading our stuff. We so much appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
And
I'm sorry, I wish we had slightly more time. I don't.
And thank you, Caroline, and thank you, Blue Willow, for hosting.
Thank
Yes.
you,
You're
guys.
very welcome. You guys have been awesome.
Right, and we will see you next week on the blog, and I will have the transcript and the video from Wednesdays. I'm working on them right now, so we'll see you with more questions and more answers. Okay, thanks all. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.